What's that one thing you thought everybody did, but it turns out only you do? I regularly shower in the dark. I told some friends this and they looked at me like I was crazy. I thought surely other people enjoyed it too. Weird thing is I am terrified of the dark and every other situation. Have water gun fights on Easter. I thought all families celebrated Easter that way, but it turns out only mine does. It all started when my mom would wake up my older siblings with a squirt gun before handing them Easter baskets, and they ended up saving their money to buy guns for themselves. Long story short. 20 plus years later my family still goes all out and gets super soakers for everyone, and I've never known anything else. Close my fucking bedroom door shut. I used to think everyone could put sunscreen on their own backs. Turns out I'm hypermobile in most of my joints. Not my story, but I guess it's count. My friend told me that she thought bananas, maybe another fruit, I don't really remember, are spicy. Turned out she just was allergic to them. Count the number of chews on each side of my mouth to make sure they're even. I really thought this wasn't that weird until I brought it up and everyone was like daydreaming constantly and to the point I feel like I'm not even in my own body anymore and it feels like my mind is slipping away from me. Eat the end piece in the loaf of bread. There isn't anything wrong with it, it's just a piece of bread. No one I know eats the end piece and just throws it out. Cry when I poo. I thought everyone did this, only realized it was just me when I started living with a roommate in university. I came out of the bathroom with a wet face, as is tradition, and she looked very concerned and asked if I was okay. I nonchalantly replied, "Oh, no, I just pooed, that's all," thinking that would explain everything, but it did not. And no, it doesn't hurt, it's just some weird nerve connection that makes the tears flow when the poo flows. Edit. Okay, since this is blowing up I have a follow-up question for those who say they cry when they poo, too. Do you also cry when sex feels really good? Edit 2. I'm so happy to hear so many of you also do this, let's all go cry poo together. Memorize my car's license plate, apparently. Was in a car park that had meters and in order to pay, there was a machine where you punched in your license plate. Most of the people in line didn't realize this until too late and had to scurry back to their cars to write it down. My friend said she'd go get mine, but I told her I knew it and for some reason she was super impressed. I took a poll of friends and no one knew their own license plate number. When I was a kid, I had to memorize my parents' numbers so I knew which car to get it when they picked me up, since for some reason, most people in my area had the same generic-looking cars. I also have a thing for memorizing song lyrics. I memorized all 12 minutes of Weird Al Yankovic's Albuquerque. All the space in my brain is taken up by useless song lyrics and license plates, so I have no room for people's names in academia. I put my hand on my cereal before adding milk so it doesn't raise and risk overflowing on the edges of the bowl. Maybe it's normal, but the one time I did it at a sleepover a friend looked at me like I just cured cancer. Use the left lane solely for passing in the US. Regularly goes 5 to 7 days without pooing. Edit, this got more notice than I was expecting. Pooping 7 days a week? I don't know how you people get anything done. Call their grandfather Grandbob, his name is Bob. I used to ask everyone in school, do you have a grandma or grandbob? Wiping your butt while standing after you poop. I thought everyone did that until I talked to my girlfriend about pooping habits and she told me she wipes sitting down. Imagine fake celebrity interviews with me as the guest in my head. That's all just a big exercise in narcissism for me. I didn't realize other people got pictures in their mind. I never really have. I thought mind's eye and picture this were figures of speech. Turns out they're not. Aka the poop knife moment. I randomly drop things I'm holding. Seems to run only in my family, we even have a word for that, but nobody else I know understand what I'm talking about. Edit, yeah, I knew I couldn't possibly be the only one. For those wondering, the word I use is the French translation of clumsiness, but in an uncommon way, like I had a clumsiness. People in the comments have way more interesting names for it, especially dropshits at dropsies, that I especially like. Also, if I do a list of all the possible explanations people have given, I can have brain or spinal cord tumor, ADHD, narcolepsy, autism. I thought that everyone liked the smell of freshly turned on air conditioners. I am yet to find someone else that likes this smell. Edit. Wow, I got over 800 upvotes on my first comment on a thread. Thank you. Well, I do have it more covered on my post on R1 in a million, but I have the rarest type of synesthesia called lexical gustatory, which means I basically taste words. Also, the same words with different accents taste differently. For example, mate with an American accent tastes like tree bark, but with an Australian accent, it tastes like dirt. I didn't wear underwear until I was like 10. Tapping beats of a song with my teeth. I know, I'm weird. Imagine a guy running along the road and jumping above obstacles when I'm looking out of the car window. I mentioned it as if everybody does this, right? Thing to friends the other day and they looked at me like a cray-cray. Edit. Spelling and to say wow, glad to see I'm not the only one, haha. Sniffing my food before I eat it. Especially chips and other snacks. Edit. It's not even because I think it might have gone bad, I just like the smell of food. EDIT too. Changed from smelling to sniffing to make it more clear. Daydream obsessively. I can give myself goosebumps by what feels like flexing my neck shoulders. I thought this was a common trait up until recently, haven't found anyone else that can do it yet, and that the expression gave me goosebumps was stupid. I did this when I was like 6 to 11 years old, don't bully me about this lol. I slept with 3 pillows. Why? Well, I had one between my legs. One in my arms and one that I put my head on. I don't know why, but I always thought my kindergarten friends did this. When I woke up then the 3 pillows were always on the ground for some reason. I told it to my friends at kindergarten and they thought I was so weird. Constantly worrying and ruminating. Literally thought that's normal until I told my ex-girlfriend and best friend. They both said they don't do it. I only eat the green part of the watermelon. I don't really like the taste of the red part, it's too sweet, I like the bitter part. When someone is talking about something and they say a word that's not very familiar to me, I try to spell it in my head and then check later whether it was correct or not. Speak 2 languages. As a kid growing up in a foreign country, I thought everybody had a language they spoke at home and one they spoke at school. I also thought everybody had a country they came from, whatever that meant, where all their relatives would magically gather. Edit. Obviously I know most people speak at least 2 languages now, but as a kid I realized none of my classmates spoke a different language at home. Weird. I've been using the phrase coffee up for about 20 years now. I say it with the same intensity as Sir Mix-a-Lot in the song My Posse's on Broadway at the end when they say, posse up. So every morning I tell my cubemate that it's time to coffee up. And go about my business. Well, one day my manager said, I'm going to coffee up, as Deeproot says. So I asked, am I the only person that says that? And everyone within earshot said a resounding, yes. Shock and awe, I tell you, shock and awe. I have a couple. Making beats with my teeth along with clicking and popping noises. I look like an idiot while doing it because you just see me closing and opening my jaw randomly. Sometimes feeling like, wow, this is real life, this is not a game, I am actually doing this, wow. Popping, cracking various parts of my body that are probably not normal. Examples include wrists, knees, ankles, toes, middle knuckles, neck, etc. Edit. Nobody upvote, we're at 169. Edit. No damn it. Separate colored candy by color, line them in rows by least to most favorite, eat from least to most by bringing the number of each to equal the least amount in a row, then eating one of each color in ascending order till gone, ending on the favorite. Count stairs and tiles and manipulate the numbers to equal 18. There's 9 stairs? Just pretend there's double and count each one as 2. Everything has to equal 18, okay, or it bothers me. Sum the digits of a car's registration number, and if the result is even it's cool, but I can't stand if it's odd. Golden birthdays. When I was growing up, it was a huge deal in the family. Golden birthday is when your age matches the birthday. I.e., my birthday is on the 11th, so my golden birthday was when I was 11. We got a huge gift and everyone always looked forward to it. I passed it on to my kids, but my wife and now my kids' spouses and everyone else I've talked to have pretty much no idea if this ever existed. One of the ways that I figured out I was trans was slowly coming to realization that all of my other friends were not daydreaming about being the opposite gender all day, every day. Like maybe once in their lifetime they thought about it, but not like me. Creating some convoluted rule set for how to walk across sections on the sidewalk and then having people by you asking why you are walking strangely. Stands back from baggage carousel at the airport until my bag comes around so that others can see and get to their bags. Drink the milk out of the bowl after the cereal is gone. Didn't know this was weird until I did it at a friend's house senior year of high school. I still drink it, but I didn't know it wasn't normal, it just seems wasteful to pour it out. Not so much anymore, but when I was younger I used to always start walking with my right foot and always take my last step with my left foot. It had to be an even number of steps. I also despise volume controls that work in a number sequence because the volume always has to be on an even number. Used to be that whatever I did with my right side of the body, I had to do with my left side of the body or else I felt uneven. I also used to take words, replace them with their number, and then add the numericals together. So for instance as would be 1 plus 19. A equals 1 plus S equals 19. So as is 20. If I came up with a number that wasn't a single digit, I would then add said numbers together until it was a single digit. So 11 would turn into 2, and then I would be done. Knocking on the bathroom door. Seriously Gary, it's not that hard. Draw the numeral 5 in a single stroke, bottom to top. Thought it was totally normal until my wife, who is a primary school teacher, saw me do it and looked at me aghast. Thinking about random stuff in family relations. I don't know how to explain properly, but for example if I eat a bigger grape, then it's a mother and let's say another one is also big, then it's also a mother, but a smaller one is a daughter. Or let's say I'm looking at tops in the shop and one top looks like a mother and another like a son. It happens unconsciously and I catch myself doing it at work the most. Don't eat the tomato seeds. Smell the jug of milk every time I open it. Doesn't matter if it's literally a brand new jug, just cracking the seal and a sell-by date 3 weeks out, I have to smell it. My family and friends always look at me like I'm bonkers and I know there's no way it's spoiled, but it must be done every single time. Even if I just used that jug of milk 5 minutes ago, I have to check. I thought people were joking when they told me they pee in the shower. I have never done it in my entire life. Weird thoughts in my head where I think to myself, if I don't do blank this time, fate will never let blank happen. Examples? If I don't make this shot, fate will never let me be with this girl I like. When I make the shot, I get happy and think to myself it was meant to be, and that girl will like me. If I hold my breath for 30 seconds, the girl of my dreams will date me sometime this year. Upon failing the challenge to myself, I get sad because I think fate will never let it happen, because I failed it. The list goes on. I'm a weirdo. I knew a guy in high school who wore underwear for a few days before switching to a new pair. He mentioned it offhandedly and was blown away when he was told that it wasn't normal. Oh shit, I actually have a good one. I use 2 Kayu tips at the same time in synchronized movements, one on each ear. I discovered that no one else do this when I was doing it on a festival and my, then, now ex-girlfriend starts laughing really hard, like crying. When I asked her why she told me it was the way I use my Kayu tips. Well, I find it comfortable and it's faster, also I don't like using the same for both ears, one end for inside and the other end for outside. If I split a check with someone and the amount was uneven, I check who got charged the extra penny. I thought everyone had intrusive thoughts, violent ones apparently they don't, and there's something seriously wrong with me. Switch between different personalities according to the situation and who I'm with. Imagine that I would eat somebody else's ear. Pour milk first before cereal. Everyone thinks I'm sick. Wipe my ass standing up. I had an easy time in school. I never got why studying was a thing. I just read the material in class, then remembered it. My girlfriend only recently pointed out that's not how it works for everyone. I get a serious headache and also heartburns after I've had hot dogs, and this pain usually lasts for a couple of hours. What makes it even worse is the fact that it doesn't put me off.